And hello, everyone, and welcome. Happy Friday. Welcome to Get a Grip with Coach Elix. I'm your host, Coach Elix, and with me, my amazing co host,
Stephen Frederick Masick is here.
Stephen the Medium. And last week, we had the amazing fun time to have Stephen's show, which we do every month at the last week of every month. And we had our family present. Holly and Morgan were at the studio. How
Well, it's
awesome
my
was
family.
that? Okay, so he wants to make sure that I call it our family, but no, he needs to be very clear. That I need to make it clear to all of you that it's his cousin and his niece, nothing to do with me. So there we
Oh,
go.
come on, Elix, come on.
You said
But
it.
we were really excited that they were up, and we had such a great time. And I got to do, as you mentioned, through the static, and people called in. I got to do readings, and they got to experience for the first time, whether it's my show or your show, in the studio.
That's right.
That's pretty cool.
And we haven't done the show since last year. How how incredible is that, Stephen? New year, new us. So welcome to 2024. But no, in all seriousness, though, it really does feel as if 2023 just flew by so fast, Stephen. And before we knew it, we blinked, and here we are, 2024. So it's really super exciting to have this conversation. And how was 2023 for you, Stephen?
It was excellent. It was a fabulous year. I mean, every year just keeps getting better and better, and 2023 was just fantastic. I got to film 2 episodes of Doc Echo Paranormal series that's on Amazon Prime right now. At least one of my episodes is on Amazon Prime, so go there, go to Doc Echoes, and my episode is number 2, so check it out. It's a fabulous episode. I have another episode coming. I'm not sure. I got to check with the director, Matthew, who's also amazing, to see if mine's next, number 4, or, whichever number it is, it's coming, and I cannot wait for the second episode to come. So the first one was at a hotel, and the second one you will see. But, that's just one of the things, Helix. It was just a really great year. And as much as you always, like with your mom, crossing in March, you always have those just devastating things that happen to you. But, I think regardless, when you look at the how much we have to be grateful for, or what we have, it's overpowering.
Yeah. And that's why this conversation today, it's, to me, it's perhaps one of the most important conversations of the year, because this can set the tone for how the year is going to go. And we're the only ones that get to have a say. You're the only one that gets to set the tone as to how your year is going to go. So be very, very self-aware of the conversations that you're already having about what this year is going to look like. Because, again, whatever you say is what you're really manifesting. So hopefully today people will walk away with a new perspective on how to look at the new year. And, last year we did a show on, instead of resolution, really creating meaningful goals instead. And I strongly believe, Stephen, that I don't believe in resolutions. I actually think that resolutions don't lead to powerful goals and to a powerful year. Maybe for some, but for most, it does not. So instead, you want to really create something new. I believe in meaningful goals, but this year I want to talk about creating a powerful intention instead. And, that is something that I've learned through you. So today is a really good conversation to learn a new way, perhaps, a new practice that can get you start the year 2024 powerfully. So
I love it.
I do too. So before we get to that, there's plenty going on. So let's give our listeners the scoop on what is it that you call it, Stephen, when we do Steelix on Sundays? Sundays with Steelix?
The wrap.
The wrap. So let's give them the wrap, Stephen. So what's the wrap from your perspective?
Well, we've been very busy. And, we were in New York, came home and had like 3 days in between. And then we took off for Florida because you had business. But we got to also, again, see family, both our families, which was really great, and had such a great time in Florida. But New York family also, and New York was terrific. And we have something else coming up very, very soon. So that's a lot. And I'm still riding on my book that came out December 8th, The Suicide Gift.
Best-selling, Amazon best-selling book. Hello.
Yes.
And still doing quite well on the best-selling list.
Yeah, I mean, even yesterday I overheard someone speaking to Elix that Elix gave them the book, and the comments were just, I got goose pimples listening to the comments on, Elix had the person on speaker, and I was, in the room next to Elix, so I could hear it. And
they didn't know you were listening.
No, well, I don't even think you knew I was listening. I just happened to be cutting through to go downstairs, and I just heard, like, Elix, I love the book. And then, of course, that stopped me in my tracks, like, oh, hopefully it's my book. And it was. So that was really cool to hear that, and the feedback has been wonderful. And now I'm at the point of, finding my way into doing book signings. And, I definitely want to focus on local, smaller bookstores. And one of my very, very good friends, Shanda, actually went to a bookstore in the town next to us on the Cape and got some information for me to go to, which I'm going to do. And so I'm still writing on that, Elix. It's been, that's also, you asked me about 2023. That was part of 2023 too, in addition to the filming and everything else that's happened. So it's been terrific. So.
That is awesome. And what else is going on, Stephen?
Well, next week I have 2 classes that are starting, which I love teaching. So they're Zoom classes, they're virtual classes. One is the intermediate course, part 1. So in the fall, I think, I usually do these in the fall and in the winter. So in the fall, I did 2 classes also, an introductory and an advanced part 1. And so this is the next class after the introductory, the intermediate part 1, and the second part of the advanced, it's part 2. So I'm teaching them Monday and Wednesday. And if you are interested, they are limited. And I know the advanced is almost full. I think maybe there's 1 spot left. I think in the intermediate part 1, I think there's 3 spots, but they're going very fast. But if you're interested, just go to stephenthemedium.com. You can see what they're all about, and you can actually even purchase and have the courses as a home study if you like to.
Yeah, and so I have 2 questions. So who is this course for? And number 2, if they haven't done, is it a requirement for them to do the beginner's class before they move on to the intermediate and the advanced, or what would you recommend?
Well, I mean, I think it really depends on where the person is. Like in the fall, when I did the advanced part 1, I had a brand new person. Actually, I think I had 2 brand new people that I know, I've read, and I know that they're very connected. And it was okay for them to get into that advanced class just because of either the classes they've taken, the books they've read, or just where they are in the understanding of spirit, which is great. If you're somebody that just wants to see what else is out there, or feel like there's something in you feel like you've been connected, and but you just don't know where to go with it, or if you feel like you're not connected and you want to be connected, all of that sort of falls into the introductory or the next class. So it's definitely not as a requirement. You just have to really read the descriptions of the class and see exactly where you fall in. And one person who was doing the intermediate, which starts Monday, she had heard about the introductory class in the middle of it from a friend, so she bought the home study to catch up, and now she's doing the intermediate part 1, which is just so cool.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So if you are interested, just go to stephenthemedium.com and go into the courses and just sign up. But you better do
Yes.
it soon before the spots get filled up. And Stephen, the last thing before we go into our first break is um, so we have our Sunday with Steelix, and we haven't done it over the past couple of weeks because of the holidays, of course. So, what's our plan for the upcoming weeks?
Well, we're just going to have these big bashes where we're coming back like you've never seen.
We're
You know,
coming
it's
back,
just
baby.
it's going to be a whole different studio, a whole different background. No, I'm kidding.
It's
I'm
a new
kidding.
season.
Yes,
What would we call this? Season two of Sundays with
yes,
Steelix? Yeah,
yes. We have to. We're in a new year. We have to call it season two. But we
season
will.
two.
You
Yes.
know, you and I have been so busy. We have not even talked about Sunday and about the episode. So I'm assuming we're doing it. And if we are, you better. You know, it's for me. It's easy. I show up and I read. Right. It's like I just can jump out of bed. I could roll out of bed and start doing readings. But you got the hard part because you got to figure out what you're going to make and the recipe and. So that's not the that's
And clearly that comes from somebody that knows nothing about cooking or the
I
kitchen
was being
because
nice.
that's not hard for me at all. I can also roll out of bed with an idea and I just roll with it. Literally, pun intended. I roll with it and I make it happen. Because
Also,
again, the
that's good
idea
to know.
absolutely, because the idea, of Sundays with Steelix is not to come up with things that are complex. It's things that are easy, that are relatable, that people can have fun listening to us. They can perhaps do while we're doing with them, and it's our show is all about being light. Um, bring people laughter, sometimes some tears when you read them, and fun because that's what we are, right?
I,
Sometimes.
I agree. But when we come back from break, Elix, before we do anything, we just have to talk about the polar plunge quickly.
Oh my God, talk, talk. Can you guys hear the accent? We have to talk about the polar plunge, which I cannot believe I forgot because it was amazing. But let's do that. Let's go take a commercial break. When we come back, we are going to tell you about how we started the new year with doing something that we've never done before. But ultimately, today's conversation is how to begin the new year 2024 powerfully and intentionally. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Get a Grip with Coach Elix. I'm your host, Coach Elix, and with me, my amazing co host,
Stephen the Medium.
Stephen the Medium, is in the house. And today we are starting 2024 powerfully and intentionally, and it's all a conversation how to start the new season to thrive. But before we get into 2024 and that new season, we got to talk about how we started our new year.
Well,
January
we
1st, we did something that we've never done before. Steven, want to tell people what we did?
yes. So my cousin, as we mentioned, and my niece, we found out they were going to come and spend New Year's Day with us, and the
Steven's
days.
cousin and niece, not mine, just his cousin and niece. Just saying, I've only known them for 30 plus years, but that's okay. Move on.
That's not what I mean. I'm just people that are listening want to know: is it Stephen's family or is it Elix's family? And a bigger
It's not
picture,
such
of
thing.
course,
It's
they.
our family. But move along, Betty. Go ahead. So your
Are
cousin
you
and
done?
niece. Yes.
Are you done?
Yes.
Yeah, done. Yes. In any case, so I wanted to do something fun, and I saw about the Monument Beach polar plunge, and thought I've never done it. I know this Puerto Rican Elix has never done it, and I'm thinking my cousin Holly and Morgan they could not have done that. So I find out none of us have. And so I signed everybody up, and I think in February we'll get the T-shirts, which I'm really excited about. But we go to a store, and my unbelievably beautiful and smart niece Morgan, who is her first year of college and she's pre-med. She's brilliant, straight A's, 4.0, and beautiful too, inside and out. In any case, she gets the idea as we're talking about, like, we've never done this. When we get out, we're going to be freezing, right? Because we're in bathing suits. And I said, well, what about like towels and maybe a robe? And then she comes up with, let's get the same robe, all of us.
Matching
we
robes.
did.
Yes.
So we got these burgundy, beautiful plush robes, and it was really hilarious because we're in. I don't know if it's the women's, if it was unisex.
No,
I
it
don't
was
know.
it was in the ladies department. Yes.
Yeah, and we're putting on these robes, and these women are looking at us, and it was really funny, and it was really cool. And what was really cool is that this woman just was pushing a carriage, and she said something about, oh my God, that's so cute, you're all getting the same robe. So I say to her, we're doing a polar plunge, and all the money is going to the town's food bank. And she starts telling us how she's used the food bank, and when she was hospitalized, and she's a diabetic. It was crazy. It just was crazy. So we go there, and we had the best time of our lives. We really did. I thought it was going to be way colder and worse than it was, but I gotta say it wasn't. Thankfully there was no wind. But I gotta just say something quickly, that the guy that was I think he's the president of the club, right? He looks the one that was
Yes.
really fun. He
Yes.
had the mic, and he's talking to everybody. So at one point, before we're getting ready to jump in at noon, he has this football he's throwing to some people. So someone throws it back to him. He throws it to our group, and Morgan grabs it. She catches it. She throws it back. He throws it back to her again and says, no, throw it in the crowd. So Morgan decides, all right, you told me to throw it in the crowd. She just turns around. She looks at everybody. She throws it. And these four guys, probably they look like they were in their 20s, all just standing there. And she clocks one right in the head. The friends laughed hysterically. He started laughing. He didn't know what was going on. And of course, you can imagine me, Holly, and Elix and Morgan. I was just hysterical. It was the funniest thing. It was like one of those really light, almost like a Nerf football. So it didn't do anything to him, but it was funny, wasn't it?
Yeah, he didn't do anything. His friends were laughing. He now has a head injury as a result of, the ball hitting him unknowingly. But yeah, it didn't do much of anything. It was funny though.
But I have a bone to pick with Sarah Jane. We met Sarah Jane. She's a photographer for one of the newspapers. She took pictures, and I went to get the newspaper today, and there's one picture, and it's not us. So,
Yeah.
Sarah
Steven
Jane,
expected to be a headliner in the
you
local
got some explaining
paper.
to do.
Yeah, Sarah Jane,
Yeah.
if you're listening, I don't know. God help you.
Several
Because-
reporters took pictures of us because we look so damn cute in our robes.
But we don't know. There may be pictures out there. We just have to find out where they are. Because I'm pretty sure those pictures are somewhere. So,
Alright.
because we did look pretty good. But anyways, but talking about that, Stephen, um, you know, 2023, like I said earlier, flew by. For me, anyways, it felt like it was really fast. It was also a year that was filled with a lot of roller coasters. Perhaps I'm speaking, you know, for myself. But I think that most of us experienced those roller coasters in life. There was some joy, there were wins, there was pain, there were tears. But we ended up sailing through it because that is what we do as human beings. We sail through what life gives us. And I love that you talk about being grateful no matter what happens in that roller coaster of life, right? Even when you deal with pain, to still be grateful. But there's a new year. Here it is, 2024. So we have an opportunity to clean the slate and really begin 2024 really intentionally and powerfully. And Stephen, I think that doing something like what we did, stepping into, the polar plunge, something that most people wouldn't even consider doing, including our producer. I remember his words exactly as, "You couldn't pay me enough to get into the ocean in freezing waters." But why do you think doing something like that may set the tone for an amazing year, Stephen?
Well, I think first and foremost, depending on what you're doing, well, I shouldn't even say depending on what you're doing. Anything you're doing that you intentionally do, like we did for the polar plunge, is that you're it's I always hear the term like it's a human experience, and I in my head I think it's not really a human experience, it's an energy experience, right?
Yes.
Because eventually we're all going to lose this human part of us, but we're not going to lose our energy, we're not going to lose our souls. So it really is an energy experience, and I think that's what it's all about. When anytime you make a decision like to just create that memory, because that's what you're doing, then I think you're already in the positive. You're already in such a great place, and usually something more than what you expect comes out of that experience and that memory. When we did the polar plunge, we had no idea what to expect and had the greatest time. And even for New Year's Eve, when the four of us were together, we were, my cousin Holly talked about a black-eyed bean or something. Was that what it was?
Yeah, like
You're
a
supposed
black. It's supposed to be something that you do for good luck. You
Yeah.
eat a black eye bean. I've never heard of it, but that was her idea.
So we
But
couldn't
we
get to the
but we
market.
had no black eye beans
So
available.
we couldn't
So
get to the market. So we switched it, and we started this as a tradition. Is that we did pomegranates. We each had one pomegranate seed that at New Year's we took. We ate as sort of like that symbol of we're together. It's the new year. So I think when anytime, whether you may not even initiate it. Maybe someone calls you and says, "Listen, we're doing this. Come with us." The second you say yes is the second that you're opening yourself up for. I think just beautiful memories, beautiful experiences, and also hopefully opening your mind up to not being closed, and just like being open to anything's possible.
and you create your new reality. So one of the things this morning, Stephen was joking with me. I jokingly said, he's mocking me because he was talking in his, Puerto Rican accent. And one of the things that you said about me, you were talking about, if I'm late for the show, you'll start the show as me, right? In your, Puerto Rican accent. But one of the things that you said was, I'll tell people that they need to practice getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. And the funny thing is that is really when I look at doing that polar plunge on January 1st, that is really the art of practicing getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. And the magic of what happens when you actually try that and you practice that mechanism, because getting comfortable with the uncomfortable is not comfortable. It's not supposed to be comfortable. It's actually that's what why we do it. But when we step into something that we may fear or that we've never done or that doesn't feel comfortable, what happens as a result is you walk out of that experience saying, "Oh wow, I I I never knew I could do this. I feel better than I did before." And there's such a wonderful feeling that it's left within you, and there's a lot of power in that. And for me anyway, Stephen, stepping into the ocean, into those freezing waters, and being there in feeling the coldness, but for me anyways, that was practicing getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. And I know that I can bring that practice into just about anything that I do. And to be honest with you, that it really is, the intention that I one of the intentions that I plan to hold for 2024 is to keep practicing the art of getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying, Stephen?
I completely know what you're saying because even the spectators watching us, we picked up all that energy, all that positive energy of the clapping and screaming when there was the countdown like New Year's Eve, and 1, 2, 1, and we all at the same time run into the water. It's just hearing those cheers and that positive energy is we grab onto, and that's there for the rest of the day. So it's a win-win because then it stays with you, and it just creates this great day ahead.
Yeah, and also I think, Stephen, that when you fear something, the fear itself creates suffering that is far worse than the reality of experiencing what it is that you fear. So, like when you think about, oh my God, jumping into the ocean, and being petrified, oh my God, what's going to happen? How am I going to feel? That was far worse for me than actually jumping into the ocean and just being there and experiencing the energy of the ocean, of the people, of the air, the, of everything.
Yeah,
It really
exactly. The
was
whole
wonderful.
experience.
Yeah, the whole experience. So,
Yes, absolutely.
so anyway, so now you know what we did for how we started 2023, but we do have to take another break. When we come back, I want to talk about creating a powerful intention and why that matters, what that might be for Stephen, for me, and what that might be for you. And then later on, I want Stephen to guide you through a practice um, where you can actually begin to create a powerful uh, intention and way for new 2024. So let's take a break. We'll be right back. And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Get a Grip with Coach Helix. I'm your host, Coach Helix, and with me, my amazing co host,
Stephen Frederick is here.
Stephen Frederick, or Stephen the Medium, as he is known. And today we're talking about starting 2024 with a powerful intention, a new season to thrive. And Stephen, last year we had a show about New Year's resolutions and leaving those behind and creating powerful intentions instead. Why do you think a new year resolution may not be as effective, Stephen?
Why it wouldn't be effective? I think it's because it's more traditional in that people, that's how we grow up. I'm sure so many of us here, like from our, you know, parents or aunts or uncles or grandparents, like what is, or people asking even strangers in a conversation, what is your New Year's resolution? As a matter of fact, I just saw that on some social media page of this woman just going around stopping people, what's your New Year's resolution. So I think it's ingrained in us, and it almost sometimes feels like it's more of a chore, like you have to come up with something. And it was kind of funny because this woman was asking these people, and she asked this one guy, and he said, well, spending time with my family. And she said, well, because you don't spend time now with them. And they were laughing, but I think it's because people are trying to figure, lose weight, do this, do that. And I've, as you know me, I'm not a fan of anything, ironically, because I can be, but in this particular case, not a fan of those sort of hard, steady, fast. It's the new year, so you should do a new way, new tradition, new resolution. Not a big fan. And I think
Yeah.
because it just comes, it's thrown at us, I think that right there puts us in a very high probability that it's not really going to stick.
Exactly. And by the way, that's exactly what happens. There are statistics that show that 45% of resolutions are often broken by the first week of the month of January. And by the end of the month, over 80% of those resolutions are done and over with. So statistically, it can be said that resolutions don't actually work. So what is something that we could do instead of resolutions? Last year we talked about creating meaningful goals, and that's something that absolutely I love doing, and we can talk a little bit later on about what that really means. But for today, I want to talk about creating a powerful intention instead. And actually, this is something I've really learned through you, Stephen. And honestly, I'm using this as a way to share with our listeners something that they can do to start the new year powerfully. But creating a powerful intention, it's not a new year thing. This is something that we should be doing daily. This is something that you should be doing, weekly, monthly, ongoingly, because a powerful intention is what sets the tone of what it is that we do. And I often, often reminding me every time I do, I have a program or a presentation, Steven says to me, have you created your intention? As a reminder that I'm the one that gets to say how that's going to go. So creating a powerful intention for 2024 is a way to say to the universe, right, as a declaration, I get to say how this year is going to go. So be very careful for those of you who have tendencies to be negative. Oh my God, 2024 is going to be a hard year. I'm concerned about 2024. It's not going to be good. Be very careful, because in essence, that you're actually speaking, whether you know it or not, you're speaking a powerful intention. And you're speaking a powerful intention that may not serve you. Do you know what I'm saying, Stephen?
I know exactly what you're saying because I see it on social media all the time, especially coming up to this new year of people. Thank God 2023 is over. Close the book. 2023. I hated 2023, and I just look and say, "Oh Lord, Lord, Lord," you're putting that in the universe. Your intention is not. Your intention is to say, let's like it's done, so let's start new. But that's
Yes.
not really what you're giving the universe. Is that you're still in the negativity. You're still sitting in it.
Yes, I totally agree. And again, I can totally relate when I think of 2023. My mom died March 30th, really the first quarter of 2023. So was it a difficult year? Absolutely, it was a difficult year. Could I have focused on, the grief that her death brought to me? Yeah, maybe, but I didn't. Instead, in again with the support of my amazing husband Stephen, I focus on being grateful. I focus on just really looking at all the goodness that the year brought me. And to be honest with you, Stephen, 2023, from a business perspective, was probably one of the best years, I've ever had. Now, were there goals that I intended that didn't happen? Yeah, but I wasn't attached. I was just committed to, having an extraordinary year. I wasn't really attached to anything specifically because I don't see it as a New Year thing. I see it as I'm going to give it my best. And if it doesn't happen, I'm going to give it my best again and again and again and again. So for me, Stephen, powerful intention. This is what I'm creating for the space that I'm holding for this year is to give myself grace, to be present, and to practice putting me first. That is the space that I'm holding as a powerful intention for 2024.
I
What do you
love that.
think? Yeah,
I love it. I love it. Yeah, even more so because I of being with you for going on 31 years. I know your life. I know who you've been. So I don't think you could have any better intentions.
yeah,
They fit perfectly.
yeah. How about for you, Stephen?
Oh, well.
And by the
Uh,
way, while you think, I'll let people know, Stephen and I never rehearse our show because we want it to be really authentic and, be something that we're having a conversation with ourselves as we're having the conversation with you. So he didn't even know I was going to ask him this question.
no, no. At first, my first reaction was to say something like, my intention is to become a good cook. But I don't even think I could even say that without laughing. So
Exactly. So
that's not happening.
that is
But
not something that neither you or anyone else can hold a space for you to become a good cook. So
no,
let's move
no.
along.
Well, you know what? I think one of the biggest intentions that I have been working on. So it's not necessarily now we're in 2024. This is what I'm setting. It's already been said, and but I want to progress with it in 2024. Is forgiveness and just reminding myself that I don't know everything. At least I know enough that I don't know everything. And I need to just keep reminding myself because the second you think, nope, this is it. I'm definite. I know this. There's nothing else is the second that you just completely close every door and window around you energy wise. The energy just ceases. You're not in the frequency. And everyone does it rightfully so because it's just the way we are, right, as humans. But it's something, the forgiveness and that other, just keep reminding myself that there's so much that I don't know, and I'm pretty positive before I leave this world that my physical body leaves, I am never going to even come close to knowing everything that's out there in the physical and in the spiritual. So once you I think you get there, it's like then everything starts just opening up. It just you get a better perspective. The blinders come off, and you can just sort of focus on things that I don't know, but I'm sure that it's possible, which is I think is really wild.
Yeah, I love that. And Mark, I'm so grateful that this show gets recorded. And because this piece of the recording, I'm just gonna play back whenever you sound like you know everything. I'm just gonna say, remember that intention you created for 2024 that you remind yourself that you don't. I'm just gonna play it back.
I think so. You should, and Mark needs to hear that.
Hey, thank you.
Uh, I
Uh,
love, I
uh,
love.
Felix, you got 2 seconds.
Yes, of course.
I
Go ahead.
just want to throw something in quick. As you guys both know, 2023 was a tough year for me. I lost my mom and my dad 3 months apart,
Mm.
which was pretty difficult to get through. But my goal now in 2024 is actually now my life has changed. I don't have my mom to confide in and help me in situations. Um, but I have the people here at the station that let me do this, and I have you guys, both of you,
That's right.
because I'm always, I do the show with you guys, and Elix is always talking about things that resonate with me, and Stephen also, and you couldn't ask for two better friends, and they've been keeping an eye out for me, and I can never thank them enough. But my goal is to move on, and it's a new life, and be the best that I can be.
That's
Thank you,
fabulous.
Mark.
Be the
Thank you.
best version of yourself, and we can hold that space for you,
Yes.
Mark. And as Stephen has said before, you're not a friend, you're family to us because Miss Ellie and Mr. Clark were family to us. So you are family, and we love you just as a member of our family.
My family.
Uh, okay. Clarification. I can claim Mark as mine too. So, sorry for you. But anyways, Mark, that was beautiful and I thank you. And but let's take a break. When we come back, I want Stephen to share with you a practice that he has done with me. He's done with some members of our family to really start the year powerfully. And I think this is something that if you're listening, you want to stay tuned and you want to make some notes because it's really, really awesome, amazing way to hold an intention for 2024 powerfully. So we'll be right back. And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Get a Grip with Coach Helix. I'm your host, Coach Helix, and with me, my amazing co host,
Stephen the Medium.
Stephen the Medium. And today we're talking about starting 2024 powerfully with a powerful intention, a new season to thrive. And we've been talking about New Year's resolutions and why they fail often. 45% of New Year's resolutions, this is an actual statistic, are broken by the end of the first week in January, and over 80%, close to 90% of the resolutions are forgotten by the end of January. So clearly, resolutions are not perhaps not an effective way to start the year. So what do you do instead? Well, last year we talked about creating meaningful goals, and this year we're talking about creating a powerful intention to begin the new year. In talking about creating a powerful intention, one of the things that Stephen has done with me, he's done with some members of our family, he's guided us through a way to create that intention powerfully, connect with nature. So, Stephen, why don't you share with people, you know, a way to create a powerful intention for 2024, some of the things that you've done with us.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had more time to actually do it, like bring everybody in, and maybe at some point on my show or even your show we can do this. But one of the one of my favorite expressions is "forward from here," meaning that regardless of where you are at this second, even if you're feeling just in a horrible place that you just screamed at somebody, or a family member or so, you can start it over right at that second, forward from here, and just be a different person, have different intentions. And my second phrase that I love is "don't die with the music still left in you." I don't remember where I heard that, but it resonated so much with me. But here's the deal. So we are at the beginning of 2024, and what I've done with Elix, and as he said with his family, is that after midnight at some point, and you can do this at any time, but what we did was after midnight, we were in the living room. I'm just referencing last year, and we took deep breaths in, and I just guided everyone, Elix and his cousin and daughter, and deep breaths in, holding the breath for a couple of seconds, and exhaling. And first and foremost, whether you do this before you stop breathing in, like 3 deep breaths, or after, you have to, as we're speaking about, you have to set your intention. What is your intention with doing this? You can just do it, but if you don't set your intention, it's almost like having pasta served to you without sauce. And that may be the best, say you love sauce, it's the best part of it, right? So you want to make sure that you put your intention in there. And you also want to bring in all your loved ones in spirit, even the ones you don't know. And people always say to me, well, that grandmother can't be coming through when I'm doing readings. I didn't know her. And it's the complete opposite, right? Because the grandmother knows the person I'm reading like the back of her hand. She's with the person all the time. So you just can say something like a very sort of like global statement. I'm reaching out to my mom and dad and grandparents and aunts and uncles and great grandparents and everybody that's connected to my bloodline, or anybody who else is just connected to my family. I want everybody, listen to me, I want everybody to be here. And you if you can, you say that vocally, because it's the energy. What I did last New Year's was I had each one of us say our names vocally. Everything else was quiet. We were doing it, except for me. I was guiding the meditation, but the other 3 were very quiet, and until we got to the names, because spirit's vibrational, right? We're all in a frequency. You want to make sure you say your name. Full name is a great thing, but it really is also, when I talk about pulling your loved ones in, it's even whether you do this physically or you do this, in your third eye, is that also like if you say you're by yourself, just put your arms each out on each side and pretend you're holding hands, that you're making a chain. You're making this circle of your loved ones that are going to just make your intention even more powerful. Because when you do that, whoever is connected to your loved ones in spirit, angels, masters, consults, all these different levels, they're all part of it. So you're getting some really high frequency pulsing. It's pretty incredible. And I always tell people too, the best way to do this is to have something from nature, whether you can just take a little twig or a little piece of something off a branch and just have it in your hand, have it in your lap. And if you can't get out and you have maybe like a book and there's a picture of a tree, do that. So you don't even necessarily have to be outside. And I know I'm running out of time, so let me just, the essence of what I'm doing, and I haven't even done this yet with Helix because we were supposed to do this with my cousin and niece, and we just never got to it, is my setup this year is to go through, and you cater this to yourself, but really is to look at this month and start with January 1st and build from January 1st in your third eye. And again, you cater this the way you want to cater it because it's your intention, your meditation. But just think of it like a snowball effect. You start off with this glorious, amazing January 1st, 2024, and the second gets better than the first, and the third gets better than the second, and the fourth gets better than the third, and you just keep going through the month. And then so just put that in the meditation and then go through every one of the months. And I don't mean counting every day, but just knowing you're starting with January 1st and the concept of it, and then switch to February. And like February 1st is better than the entire month of January, and just keep going through those months. And when you remember and realize that even though each day gets better, you're starting off that, in this amazing place. You're living, you're present, you're breathing. So you're starting in you have so much to be grateful for in this extraordinary place. And when you think of it that way, what that means each day after, it's going to get even better. And you go through the end of the year. And again, that's just something I, came up with this year. But the whole point of this is that it's your intention. So you cater it to the way you want to cater it.
I think that's wonderful. I personally, I still remember the exercise when we did it January 1st, 2023. And I really, Stephen, believe that even in the face or in the midst of breakdown, that exercise was what empowered me to really get through all of those breakdowns and still have what I would consider my best year yet, because 2023 was, an amazing year. And what I also would say is, really do the exercise. Stephen, one of the things that you often say to me is there's no really right or wrong way to do it. Just simply do what you feel works for you. It's like meditating. Meditating doesn't have to look in any particular way. Sometimes meditating, it can be quiet time. That's meditating.
Yes.
But I would say avoid the oh my gods and avoid the what ifs. Those are two very dangerous conversations. Life, expect breakdowns. I mean, that's part of life. It's part of life. So embrace them, expect them, embrace them, and don't give power to the breakdowns with oh my god or what if, because again, the what if is a made up story that brings absolutely no power into any conversation, and it can actually derail you from fulfilling on whatever that powerful intention you created. That's what I think from my perspective, Stephen.
I also love the phrase I am. I use that a lot in meditation. I am greatness. I am boundless. I am ready. I am there. It sort of forces you to go to the positive place. And usually that's connected to your dream or your goal or wherever you want to go. So
I am is a declaration. You don't need to have anything or anyone declare what it is that you want and that you are. You declare it for yourself because you simply say so. That's wonderful, Stephen. I am is perhaps one of the most powerful ways to build and to create or to hold a powerful intention for 2024. But you know what, Stephen, I one thing I think we want to do is I love to build a whole new show, just you and we're gonna call it Forward from Here. How about
I
that?
love that.
Yeah, that's a promise. So Stephen and I will work on it forward from here. But you know what else is forward from here? The fact that we are at the top of the hour and we need to complete today's show is really amazing. I love listening to your practice and sharing that with our audience. But Stephen, any people want to get a hold of you? How do they connect with you?
I thought you were going to say forward from here right now is going to the kitchen for a sandwich. I'm hungry. Just saying. You can find me, Stephen the
Mark.
Medium, everywhere. Website, social media, Stephen the Medium. And reach out to
Stephen.
me. Say hi.
Stephen the Medium, and you can find our Sundays with Steelix on Stephen the Medium YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and if you are not following me, you gotta look me up at Coach Elex, and that's
Yes.
how you connect with the two of us.
Yes.
And that said, we will be here next week. We won't be here the week after, right, Stephen? Because we're
Yes.
okay. So, anyways, well, we will see you again next week, next Friday, the 12th, and have a wonderful rest of the weekend, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.